So you have decided to buy a house in the Netherlands, or you're just toying with this idea. There are tons of information out there online, including my channel, but what's the actual cost of owning a house here? I think it's crucial to know all the costs of owning a house before you make the decision. So let's figure this out together. I have owned this house for nearly a year now, and I'm the kind of person who notoriously tracks all his expenses, and my house expenses are no exception. Let's start with the money that you can actually get back to your pocket. Knowing the house price can allow you to easily calculate the monthly payments, but not many people actually consider that some of this money will get back to you with tax return. For each mortgage payment you make, part of this payment covers your principal and part of this payment covers your interest rates to the bank. With annuity mortgage, which is the most popular type of the mortgage in Netherlands, most of the payments you make in the first years go to covering the interest rates. It gradually changes towards the end of the mortgage, and at the end you're mostly covering the principal and almost don't pay interest rate because you already paid them off in the first years. For the part that you're paying towards the interest rates, you actually get some money back with tax return. The formula is a little bit complicated for this video, but the important number is 36.97% in 2024. This is a percentage on which you can return your money back with the taxes. This number changes throughout the years. Sometimes it gets a little bit higher, sometimes lower, but it's less than the maximum tax amount you can pay in the Netherlands. If you are in the highest bracket, you can pay up to 49.5% in taxes for part of your income, but for a mortgage return you will get back less. As I said, it's limited to the fixed number each year. This program called mortgage tax relief. For example, my monthly payments for a mortgage is 1,840 euro per month. From that money, I pay towards the interest rates 1,300 euro. As you can see, it's a pretty big chunk of the payment. From that 1,300 euro, I get around 470 euro back with tax return, making my actual mortgage payments around 1,350 euro per month. It changes month over month, so these numbers are approximate. And of course, as I said, since the interest rates goes down each month and each year, you will get the tax relief program also less and less every month. For example, in 20 years, these tax returns will be almost twice as less as they are now. So my actual net mortgage payment will be 1,600 in the 20 years. But you also will be paying more towards the principal, towards the cost of your house. So that's also good, because it's basically your capital. There are also a few requirements for getting these tax returns. I will link in the description for more details for you to check. This all is quite complicated to have in mind. That's why I started working on a comprehensive guide of buying a house in the Netherlands, and I want to put there all the information I wish I knew before buying a house. Apart from the ultimate guide, I will put there a couple of really useful tools like calculators, where you can calculate your mortgage payments, tax return payments, or calculate renting versus buying situation. You can go by this link or click the link in the description, and you can pre-purchase the guide by the special price. After I will publish the guide, the price will be higher. Or you can simply leave your email and I will send you the message when the guide is published. Now back to the video. Another excellent news for first-time buyers of the house is that you can actually get tax returns for some of the money you spent on purchasing the house. You can reduce your taxable income on the amount that you spent for getting your mortgage. For example, notary fees for getting a mortgage, NHG application, your mortgage advisor, and other small costs. It's better to ask your mortgage advisor to clearly mark in the notary invoice which costs you can fill in the tax return next year. Because the notary invoice is really long and there are various costs in there, so it would be much easier if next year, when the tax return date comes, you already know which costs you can fill in the tax form. Now to the actual cost. The highest costs after the mortgage payments are of course taxes. But bear in mind, I only has experience in Zwolle and Overijssel region, so if you're planning to move to other place, you better to Google the municipality taxes on their website. It's either a percentage of the WOZ value of your house, or it's some fixed payment based on how many people live in the house, for example. But those costs strictly vary on the area, on the municipality, on the size of your house, number of people living there, and the type of the house. Here's the taxes we actually paid this year. Property tax, also called OZB, is usually a percentage of the VOZ value of your house. In Zwolle in 2024, it was around 0.09% of the VOZ value. For us, it was 352 euro. Water board tax usually contain a few different taxes. In 2024, for us it was 279 euro. Sewer connection levy for us was 129 euro. Water purification levy is 227 euro, and the waste collection levy is 261 euro. Total in 2024 we paid 1,242 euro taxes for the house. Those taxes can go up every year, so don't expect it's gonna be a fixed payment every year, and sometimes your VOZ value of your house also go up depending on what's going on in the housing market, and it will drive the taxes even more because some of them are percentages. In some municipalities you will also get additional invoices. For example, in Zwolle we pay for these city garbage containers where we put a rest garbage, the one that is not recycling. We actually haven't gotten the invoice for some reason, but I think it's around 100 euro per year. But of course it depends how many times you use the trash container. One more thing I want to mention is VVE, or Owners Association cost. This cost you only paying when you owning the apartment in the building with a shared space. These payments goes toward the building manager, and they usually use it to maintain some shared things like elevators, cleaning, maybe some shared electricity bills and stuff like this. Most of the apartments that are on sale I've seen, they all have this cost. I think these costs could vary a lot depending on the area, type of apartment, but I've seen regular apartments and usually the costs are around 200 euro, but per month, not per year. Also a good cost to consider if you're thinking about buying an apartment. That doesn't exist when you're the sole owner of the house, because the whole structure, you're the only one who is responsible for any maintenance, cleaning, etc. It doesn't necessarily mean you will spend less money than these owner association bills from your own pocket. So it's always a good idea, even if you buy a house, to dedicate some money for a future maintenance or any unexpected things. But this sum is just impossible to calculate. It depends on the house, on when house was built, the type of the house, the condition, whether you're willing to spend a lot of money on renovation. So it could be tens of thousands of euros, or it could be nothing. For example, if you want to do a massive renovation and the manual labor costs a lot of money here in the Netherlands, it will cost you 10,000 of euros. We're mostly trying to do everything ourselves, although we're not a handy people, so we're learning on the go, but we don't really do much. Our house is relatively new, so there is no maintenance needed, only the cosmetic things. Also, thankfully, nothing breaks in our house yet, except one issue when we only moved in, but I already talked about this in my video about buying a house. You can check it by the link in the description. And the last, of course, is utility bills. Of course, they exist even if you're renting, but you're often renting an apartment and people often then buy a house. And house is a little bigger, so you should consider that your bill will also go up. Some of the very modern houses are completely self-sufficient. They have a lot of solar panels, they have a heat pump and completely electrical boiler, so they only use the electricity that they produce. But those cases are still quite rare, although it's getting more and more popular. It's really hard to give you a specific number for how much we use, because we installed solar panels. They produce some of the energy in summer, but in winter not so much, and everything is recalculated once a year. But I think in general, judging by the app, we almost gonna be at net zero, everything related to electricity, and I think we even produce more electricity than we actually use. And for gas, according to the app, we're using around 40 euros per month, but we didn't use heating in the house in the winter, so that helped having a lower bill. So I think with the reproduction of the electricity, we will cover our gas expenses as well. So hopefully it should be around zero net all the time, but you never know. That's all. I hope you learned something useful for you today. As I already mentioned, if you are serious about buying a house, consider pre-purchasing my guide of buying a house in the Netherlands, or just leave your email and I will send you the message when the guide will be ready. The link is here or it will be in the description below. I would definitely purchase such guide if it would have been exist when I was buying a house, because it would have been saved me tons of time. Check out my other videos about buying a house here and here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and see you in the next one. Doei doei!